Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be a bit of a mix of different things that I have been up to in the garden for the past week. As you all know, it has been super rainy here. I think I talk about it in pretty much every one of my videos, but that's just the reality of the weather right now. It is actually the wettest month on record for the south coast of New South Wales, or it has been over the past few months. So it's really crazy that we've moved down here and we're experiencing this weather. I'm interested to see what it's going to be like this time next year and just, yeah, learn what more of a normal year looks like. But I did film a few things throughout the week that I thought I would just do a voiceover of what they are. Thankfully, in between the rain periods, we could get outside and get into the garden, which was really nice. So there's lots of jobs that we filmed throughout this video. I also wanted to say a massive thank you for those people who have joined on the Patreon page and are supporting me over there. It means so much to me. I am just about to upload an extra video over there, so I just wanted to remind you all that if you are interested in seeing extra bonus content where I share different areas of the garden that I probably won't share here on this YouTube channel, then you can head over to the Patreon page if you would like to support over there. And I do get a lot of questions on my YouTube videos, and the Patreon is definitely a great way to ask questions. We've got a group chat, a Discord over there where you can ask all things gardening and we can all answer questions and chat about plants over there. Right, we'll jump into the garden content now so you don't have to keep listening to all of the power tools and chainsaws outside. People seem to be doing lots of garden work in between the rain period. So I really hope you enjoy this video and see what I got up to in the past week in the garden. So the first job that I was working on this week was working on pre-sprouting some of my Ranunculus. I want to see how they go at different times of the year, so I'm starting out a few now, and these ones I got from Tesla. These two varieties are a pink and a cream color, so I'm really excited to see how these go. And I've watched a few videos on how to do this, and I am putting these in just some cups of water, and you can leave these up to about 4 hours in here, and this basically just reactivates the corms. So Ranunculus come in these kind of really weird octopus kind of looking things, and they rehydrate when you put them in water. And then I'm using just a seed starting tray to sprout them, and I do this after I leave them in the water for 4 hours and then bring them out into these trays to sprout. And this usually takes 2 or so weeks to start to pre-sprout. And I'm just filling up the tray with a little bit of soil and then placing the corms on top, making sure to label them and then covering them up. There's a few different benefits to pre-sprouting your Ranunculus, and I really particularly wanted to do it for these two varieties because they were not that cheap and I really wanted to get definite blooms from them. I also have some slugs in the garden, so pre-sprouting these ensures that I know that they're actually going to be viable, and I can keep an eye on them a little bit easier than I would if I just placed the dried corms straight into the ground, or if I had rehydrated them, as in put them in the water and then put them straight out into the garden. So I'm excited to see how this goes, and I'll keep you updated with what they look like after they have pre-sprouted. I'm using just a potting mix to put these corms into, and I'm going to check on them every few days just to make sure that they're not going moldy or decaying at all. You don't want the mixture to be too wet, so I'm probably not going to need to water this while they're in here pre-sprouting. I really don't want it to be too dry as well, or else the corms will dry out. So you just want a nice even moisture level in the mixture to let the corms sprout. So we'll see how they go. I'm really excited to see what they look like. Another job that I wanted to do, you'll see some cosmos in the bottom left hand corner, they're little tiny seedlings. These are getting too leggy, and with cosmos and zinnias and a lot of other different flowers, you can pinch them off or snip them off to make sure they get extra blooms. So you'll see here on the top of this cosmos is growing straight up, and then it's actually starting to flower, which is not really what I want. I want a much larger plant to give me more flowers. So I'm going up the plant and going to about the third nodule of where you see sprouts coming out from either side. This is where the plant is going to naturally branch off and create new top branches. So I'm just snipping it off, and this ensures that the plant is going to grow outwards rather than just grow up and just give me the one flower. So you can see the zinnia here, it's also kind of doing that with its shape. I don't want that, I want it to be nice and bushy. This is my experimental zinnia to see how late in the season I can actually grow them. So they definitely need pinching. So that's what I'm doing here. And then finally we had a really nice break and we had some sun, which was super nice. Scott and I decided it was the perfect day to get some onions in the ground. So I had a bed and a half where I could get my early cream gold onions, and I have a tray of red burgundy. And these are really easy to plant. I really enjoy planting onions and they're really satisfying to grow. I like to plant them in rows, and you plant them about 10 centimeters apart and usually about 15 centimeters between each row. I was doing these pretty close together just because I had a lot of onion seedlings and I want a lot of onions. You can see the neighbor's dog was very interested in looking at what we were doing today. But they're really simple to separate, and I'll walk you through the process of how I actually plant them. Just because they can be a little bit fiddly because they're so small, a really easy way to do that is just to lay them in a trench. You can kind of see that's what I'm doing here. I'm just laying them down and tucking in the roots a little bit just to make sure that the roots are all in contact with the soil. And then once you've done that, you can just brush the soil back over the roots. You'll see it in another clip, and then the plant will just naturally grow vertically. It will naturally reach for the sun, and you don't have to kind of individually plant each of those onion seedlings. Doing them in the row and in the trench by laying them over and then letting them naturally reach up is the easiest way to do that, in my opinion. So we just spent the afternoon getting some sunlight, and it was really nice, and I really like being in the garden with Scott. He is a really good helper, and I think he enjoyed it too. It's really nice to come out and just enjoy some jobs in the garden, and I really like to bring other people in, particularly with planting, because in my opinion it's one of the most fun jobs to do apart from harvesting. So it was a really nice afternoon, and if you are in the southern hemisphere at the moment, now is a really great time to get your onion seedlings in the ground. A few weeks ago, I decided to just try burying some food scraps in some pots and see what happened. I had these pots laying around and the soil was really bad in it, and I also had some plants around like this mint here that I picked up from Bunnings from really cheap, and I wanted to see what the soil looked like below these pots. and I was really impressed with how it had decomposed and basically turned into compost. I'll leave the video down below in the description box if you want to see what this looked like before now. This is a few weeks later, and you can see there's just a little bit of paper towel left in there. I think that was about all I could see in there, which was perfectly fine. The rest of it was really dark, rich soil, which I was super happy about. I really love composting in so many different ways, and I think there should be no rules with composting. However you can do it in your backyard, you should be doing it because it just benefits your plants. You can reduce your waste and increase biodiversity in the soil, which is always a good thing when you're trying to grow plants. So I just planted this berries and cream mint in this pot. I'd never really heard of this type of mint before, but it smells delicious and it has really pretty flowers as well. So the bees and the pollinators are loving it. Just putting some mulch back around it. The pots really do need a little bit of a scrub, but that's for another day. I was really happy with all of these jobs that I got done in the garden this week, despite the rain. What you didn't see was a lot of me sitting inside looking a little bit sorry for myself, not being able to get out in the garden, but when I could, I definitely was out there doing some jobs and enjoying the gorgeous garden. So I really hope you enjoyed today's video and that you have had a great week in the garden so far. I would love to know some of the jobs that you've been up to in the garden, so definitely make sure to leave a comment down below and we can all discuss some of the jobs that we've done in the garden this week. I hope you're all having a lovely day wherever you are in the world, and until my next video, happy gardening everyone. Bye!